TV, a fast-tech TV platform. You can also connect with us on all our ATN socials by subscribing, like and share. Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok at Atlantic TV Network 1, and on X at Atlantic TV. We're going for a short commercial break. When I return, I will introduce my co-anchor.
Discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all your bits on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. On ATN. From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all your bits on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. On ATN. From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara.
All right, doing this with me today is none other than Kingsley. Good morning, Kingsley.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Anthony.
Always a pleasure. It's been a while I saw you on this other side of the table.
Thank God I'm here today.
Yes, thank God you are. All right, we're going to start with the Punch newspaper. So the Punch newspaper major headlines: 432 billion naira probe. EFCC detains El Rufai, DSS on standby. We also have ex-governor grilled by EFCC as federal government files charges over alleged NSA phone tapping. Also, DSS opens Dadiata case, seizes passport, summons sons for questioning. We also have another story: rival protesters clash at EFCC headquarters in Abuja. Also featured on the Punch newspaper is the 2027 elections. National Assembly eyes January 16th for presidential poll. Suspends electoral bill harmonization. And also court remands suspected killers of South African-based Nigerian students. Food inflation falls to 14-year low. And then arrests made after 2 die on Lagos film set. I think I would like to start with a more interesting one. 2027 elections. National Assembly eyes January 16th for presidential poll. Suspends electoral bill harmonization. Kingsley, first of all, not before they had slated February 20th for our general elections. But the former Vice President Atiku came out and said that it was unfair to Muslims who would be, observing the Ramadan period, and that they felt that it was a deliberate attempt to keep some voters out of voting. I mean, if the Muslims are preparing for the Ramadan festivals, they would definitely not be in the right frame of mind to think about elections. Some were also of the opinion that, look, every day of the week, the month, the year is some sort of religious activity.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, even some Sabbath people have come out to also condemn the Saturday elections, saying that Saturdays are meant to be for observing Sabbath day. Yeah. So if we are going to go by that, that means that there will never be an appropriate day for the elections to be held. Now, I think the National Assembly have listened to the plea of these people, and then they want to shift back the dates to January. Yes. What do you have to say concerning this?
I think it should be in the interest of everybody, at this point in time, whichever date, they want to choose, for the election, should be able to, accommodate everyone. Is it the Christians, the Muslims? I think February is, to the Ramadan period. So you take a look at it, it will definitely, affect Muslim, and you know how rigid, to say, they are with their religion, and so they won't want to sacrifice anything to say, oh, I'm leaving my day of worship to go to vote. That is totally out of their plan. So I think if you look at it, the Muslim, they have a very huge valid point, at this point in time, that it should be shifted, to a period where, they'll also have that opportunity to come you know, vote for whoever they want to vote for. You also tend to consider the Christians and every other persons as well. So at this point in time, I just hope that, you know, at the end of the day, those in charge of the electoral process will try most they can to harmonize things. I hear that the Senate and the House of Representatives will sit, you know, on this to be able to see how to, of course, you know, come to a better conclusion, you know, on this. And I think if they do, it will, of course, be a good one. Looking at the fact that there's been a whole lot, you know, around the election. Don't forget there's the issue of, you know, the result transmission, of course, you know, we're still on and all of that. So I think there need to be a proper sitting to make sure that, you know, all of these are being harmonized.
Yeah. And speaking of harmonization, they are trying to push back the deliberation of the electoral bill harmonization. Setting a date without harmonizing our electoral bill, is that not jumping the gun? Because one of the things that certain things have to follow precedence. You do one and then you follow through a sequence of order. But it seems like in this place they're more concerned with the actual elections than the reform needed for our elections. People are crying foul every year, or every time there is every election year. You know, the people are not satisfied with democracy in this country. They feel that their rights as a people, their right to choose who to represent them as a people, is always being denied or disrespected. Now, this is the one time that the people's will can come to play. But however, it seems the National Assembly is playing hanky-panky with this as well. More asks, is the electoral reform bill not supposed to come before an actual date being set? And also, let's look at the timing. When they're done setting a day for the elections, would there be enough time for them to harmonize the bill before the actual elections?
I don't think there will be. All right. For me, I think the bill, of course, should come first. There should, when it comes to the bill, before you even talk about, you know, before we start talking about the election dates, you know, and all of that, you know, just like you said, you know, there have been, you know, in the past, the people, you know, they really find it difficult, you know, to feel or have that sense of, you know, democracy. They always feel that, you know, there's this marginalization, you know, and all of that. So it's just like, you know, just the way things have been done in this part of the world. And it's very, very unfortunate that sometimes we do not sit down and try to see how we can strategize things properly to get things right before, you know, we maybe take the next step. We just want to sometimes, you know, those in charge, those probably in government, just want to make sure they exercise their political rights, trying to gain what they want to get so that they can continue to be in government. And for me, that is not fair at all. That is not democracy. That is not democracy. Democracy is for everybody. We should be able to feel, you know, the impact of the fact that, yes, we're in a country like this and we're in a democratic government. All right, so for me, I think at this point in time, the bill should come first before we even start talking about, you know, the election dates and how, you know, things, of course, you know, will be done at this, you know, at the moment.
Okay. All right, still on the Punch newspaper. I think this one, I'm sure, Kingsley, you love this. You look like a foodie. So I'm sure you're going to like this. I mean, so according to reports, food inflation falls to 14-year low. Food inflation falls to 14-year low. Nigeria's food inflation rate fell to 8.89% year-on-year in January 2026, the lowest level recorded in more than 14 years, according to the latest Consumer Price Index report released by the National Bureau of Statistics. Also, headline inflation eased marginally to 15.10% in January 2026 from 15.15% in January 2025, contrary to earlier projections by analysts that inflation could climb to 19% in January.
Should we be happy?
No, it's not even about happy. Look, here's the thing. What the National Bureau, the figures the National Bureau of Statistics usually quotes, and then the reality faced by the people usually are not the same.
True.
They are saying that food inflation has dropped for the all-time low in 14 years. But 14 years ago, if you go to the market with 100,000 naira, you know the amount of goods and services you can
buy. You buy with 100,000 naira.
You definitely fill the house for like months to come.
Yeah.
If you go to the market today with the same 100,000 naira, how much goods can you purchase?
That's the thing. So that's a lot of questions to be asked at this point in time. Where do you see, the price of food, has fallen and all of that, how, you take a look at it, just like you mentioned, using the 100,000 naira, narration and all of that. You go to the market today, maybe with 100,000 naira, you'll be able, of course, to get, as much as you want. But before, all right, 100,000 naira is a huge amount of money in terms of you going to the market to buy something. So when they say price of food has fallen, sometimes it does not really balance. And you ask yourself, is everybody that has felt the impact of the, price of food, of course, being falling?
Yes.
There are people that do not really even earn much. All right, going to the market with about, let's say, 5,000 naira is a big deal. It's a very big deal, and at the end of the day, you're not even able to get something, as much as you want.
Exactly.
With that huge amount of money. So for me, I think it just depends on how the economy, of course, has shifted to at this point in time, where the price of fuel has actually catapulted. Back then, of course, when we used to buy fuel at the rate of, let's say, 100 naira, 70 naira, thereabouts. Of course, when you go to the market, you definitely see that things are not that expensive. But since the price of fuel skyrocketed, and so many things, now even when they say the price of fuel has dropped, now Nigerians know how to adapt to things.
Exactly.
Right?
They always know how to turn their lemons into lemonade, and then even through a party, and invite everybody to attend that lemonade party.
It's not supposed to be that way. The people are supposed to enjoy. We have the resources. We have what it takes, of course, for we to have things easier, very easy for us right here. But at the end of the day, because of the interests of some persons, all right, things will be shifted the other way around. And at the end of the day, Nigerians will accept that, okay, it's even better, it's like this, whereas that's not how it's supposed to be. So if you're coming up to tell us that price of food has fallen, is everybody that is enjoying it? Or maybe it's only the rich that are maybe enjoying, whatever, price, of course, that has fallen at this point in time. So for me, I think there is still a lot of questions to be asked at this point in time. Go to some places. The rate at which probably Gary is sold in maybe River State is not the same way it's probably sold in another place. That's the thing. So you take a look at it, as moderation be done in terms of course, the price, and people, of course, being able to afford, the goods, of course, in the market. What about those that are earning a very small salary, at the end of the day? So for me, when they say price of food has fallen, we'll just have to listen to it, and maybe when you go to the market, you really know if it's that. You take
that to the market. They say the price of food has fallen. So why are you selling beans for me at 5,000 naira?
That's another question.
Right. So we need to ask these questions. All right. Let's move on quickly to the Daily Trust. Top story on the Daily Trust: EFCC detains El Rufai. Top story: EFCC detains El Rufai. Also, 100 U.S. personnel equipment arrive in Bauchi. And then goods destroyed as residents protest against Northerners in Rivers State. We also have KNSG commends President Tinubu APC governors over 8 billion naira donation to Singar Market fire victims. Also, United States freezes assets of 8 Nigerians over Boko Haram membership and cybercrime. All right, I think we'll go to Rivers story since we are in Rivers State, obviously. Yes. I would like to have your take on this one. Goods destroyed as resident protest against Northerners in Rivers State. Goods worth hundreds of millions of naira have been destroyed following protests against Northerners in Port Harcourt, Rivers State capital, over the killing of a resident in Ogrita, Ikoyi local government area, allegedly by a commercial motorcyclist. It was gathered that Inclem Samuel Festus, an indigene of Igruta, allegedly stole a bicycle from a shop owned by Northerners. During efforts to recover the motorcycle, he was reportedly stabbed and later died from injuries sustained in the attack. I mean, we know there are prejudice against Northerners due to what's happening in the northern state.
Yeah.
But I also believe that 2 wrongs do not make a right. This individual went to steal their went to steal and then nobody knows what really transpired. It could be a case of self-defense or whatnot, because as a thief, you definitely have your own arms to go and then rob from your people. And then in this case of self-defense, who is really to be blamed? Are the Rivers indigents right in protesting?
You take a look at it, first of all, yes, if you look at it, I think the Northerners were trying to defend themselves, in that particular incident, looking at the fact that somebody actually tried to steal from them. All right, but they can, looking at it, the way things has been, when it has to do with the North, especially with the South here, it has not always been friendly. Not really found herself, in that friendly mood. So whatever comes up, you always see that, altercations, and all of that. So they were trying to, of course, put up defense down there. But, when you are in another man's land, you know how the rate at which you defend it should be calculated. That's the thing. The rate at which you defend should be calculated. Else, it's my turn against you. At the end of the day, especially when you take a look at, well, I'd say the ethnicity issue between the South and the North, they don't like themselves. All right. So whenever, the Northerners maybe here, maybe River State or any Southern state, and of course try to do something. You see people want to maybe attack them. Looking at how things are over there in the North, the way they also treat, people. So for me, I think we always preach one Nigeria, at the end of the day. So there should be that means where we, come to, have one mind. No matter what come, we shouldn't probably see ourselves, of course, as enemies. At this point, but I think the police were able to intervene and try, of course, to settle that particular issue. So for me, I think at this point in time, we should be preaching one Nigeria. Let's try to see how we can harmonize, no matter what, and see how we could be brothers.
I think I like the way you ended this. Okay. I think we all want Nigeria. Okay, if you go outside of Nigeria, nobody's going to ask you, are you from the southern part of Nigeria or from the northern part of Nigeria? All they see is that you are Nigerian, and then whatever prejudice they have against you is going to be meted out on you. So irrespective of our differences, whether in religion or ethnicity, I think it's the best time for us all come together and then, put together a strong front for, against persecution of Nigerians worldwide. Also, my heart goes out to the family of the late Festus, and I'll also plead with the River State indigents that two wrongs don't make a right. I'm not saying what the Northerners did was right, but this guy literally went to that domain to steal from them. And then knowing how far they can go to defend their life, their properties and what's not, their lives and properties, it should have served as, a warning to them. So let's all, at this point in time, do the right thing. Anyway, this is where we wrap it up on this episode of Newspaper Review. Up next is ATN Blowouts. Kingsley, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Antonia.
All right. We are open for sponsorship of the program, advert placements, news event coverage, and commercials. You can watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv, on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Avo TV platform, Niger TV, Ifastech TV platform. You can also connect with us on all our ATN socials by subscribing, like, and share. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on X, Atlantic TV Net. Remember, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. I am Antonia Arsabil.
We bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries.